Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is SYIFA binti Muhammad AKIB. My matric number 1201521. The using of Hilal sighting in Malaysia. Hilal sighting is a very important element in astrophy and cosmography activities in Malaysia. Astrophy and cosmography is a field that has a wider scope than astronomy, which covers the fields of Aqidah, Syariah, Akhlaq, interpretation of astrology and the universe's happenings based on Al-Quran and As-Sunnah. Therefore, in order to ensure that measurements of celestial objects may be made accurately, a high level of observational abilities is required. The study tries to explain the observation used to determine the fasting month as well as all components of observation, including observation tools, observation sites, and the organization in charge of these activities. Meaning of sighting. Observation, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is the act of paying close attention to something or someone for a while in order to learn anything. In contrast, insight, in the words of Kamus Dewan, is the act of process of seeing a situation and receiving something in the heart while using the sense of sight and sound. Additionally, according to Al-Kamus Al-Muhit and Al-Mu'jam Al-Lughah Al-Arabiyyah Al-Mu'asirah, observation in Arabic is zasada, which means zalabat, which is observation. In the book Al-Ra'id Al-Saghir says that observation in the field of astronomy is the observation of the stars and their movements and what is related to them by using observation equipment. Referring to the definitions that have been obtained, it can be concluded that insight brings meaning to a deep observation of a matter or situation to obtain accurate and precise results. That's all for me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is SYAFIQAH binti AZMAN. My matric number is 1201516. The next is Hilal sighting for the determination of fasting and Eid celebrations. Moon or Hilal sighting is known as one of the methods used to determine the entering for fasting and Eid celebration in Malaysia. Hilal sighting is not only used in Malaysia but all around the world. For example, Hilal sighting is used to determine the beginning of Ramadan, Shawwal and Zulhijjah. And these 3 months, the Ramadan, Shawwal and Zulhijjah, are very important for Muslims as it involves the special acts of worship such as to perform fasting, celebrating Eid al-Fitri, Eid al-Adha and Hajj. The process of Hilal sighting in Malaysia. In Malaysia, the methods used to determine the beginning of new Hijri months is called as Imkan Ruqyah. Imkan Ruqyah consists of 2 things, which is Ruqyah, means sighting of the new moon, and Hisab, which is the astronomical calculation. And to be clear, this method is known as the combination of those 2 things, which is Ruqyah and Hisab. And through this method, the crescent moon can be considered to be appeared when it fulfills a few criteria or conditions, which is the first one, the moon must be not less than 3 degrees, and the second one, the distance of the curve of the on the horizon below 6 degrees 4 minutes. And if the criteria is fulfilled on the observation day, which is on the 29th day of the Hijri months, then the next day will be counted as the first day of the new Hijri months. But if the condition are not met, then the next day is counted as the 30th day of the month of Hijri. However, for the months of Ramadan, Shawwal and Zulhijjah, they are still subjected to the declaration of the keeper of the ruler's seal. Why the Hilal sighting process is necessary in determining the start date of fasting and Eid. So, Hilal sighting process is a fardu kifayah. Fardu kifayah means that it is necessary for one party to be responsible to take part in observing the crescent moon on the day of Ruqyah to determine its appearance or non-appearance on that day. Although the Hisab method can calculate the position of the crescent moon accurately, but Syari has stipulates that moon observation or sighting must be done. And this refers to the guidance that Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala and Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has explained to us. For example, from Surah Al-Baqarah verse 185, فَمَنْ شَهِدَ مِنْكُمُ الشَّهْرَ فَلْيَصُمْ. Translation, so whoever is present this month, let them fast. So that Surah Al-Baqarah verse 185 explains that whoever among you have seen or see the new crescent moon, then they need to fast for that month. And then next is the hadith from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Iza ra'aitumuhu fasumu wa iza ra'aitumuhu fa'aftiru fa in ghumma alaikum faqduru lahu. Translation: if you see it, then fast, and if you see it again, then break the fast. If you are obstructed by clouds, then calculate the amount number of days completed. That hadith said that if you see the crescent moon, then you should fast, and if you see it again, break your fast. But if it is hindered by the clouds, then use the hisab method. And those verses from the Quran and the hadith refers to the method of hilal sighting in order to determine the start of fasting.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NISA IRDINA binti NORHISHAM and my matric number is 1201528. Now, I will talk about the equipments that have been used in sighting the moon project. In ancient times, when people want to sight the moon, they did not use advanced tools or equipments. They only sight the moon by using the naked eye, or we call as eye vision. But now, there are a lot of equipments have been created to help people to sight the moon in easier way. However, it must fulfill the Islamic justification and it must meet the specifications set by the Quran, the Hadith, and the consensus of the scholars. And it should be conducted by a person that is fair. One of the equipments that have been used in sighting the moon is telescope. The telescope is a very popular and such a common tool for viewing things in the sky to get a clear image. Galileo Galilei, an Italian physicist and astronomer, was the first person who introduced telescope in the year 1609. Besides, Muslim scholars also made contributions to the development of the telescope, like Ibn al-Haytami, or widely known in the West as Al-Hazan. In Malaysia, the MID LX200 10 inches telescope was used for sighting the moon. This telescope will be attached with the DSLR camera to get a better quality on the moon's image. Besides, to get a better view of the moon, the observers must be concentrated and well prepared before and during the moon observation project. Lastly, observing the moon using advanced tools is not an issue and it is not a mistake because we still use our eyes to see the moon and it still coincides with the Islamic Sharia. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is NURSYAZA binti KHALIM. My matric number is 1201529. Today I will present about the history of moon sighting in Malaysia. The new moon, also known as the crescent moon, in the beginning of a new month in the Hijri calendar. So the activity of observing the new moon occurs when the sun sets on the 29th day of the Hijri calendar every month. So the importance of observing the new moon is very significant for certain months, which is to determine of beginning of Ramadan, Shawwal and Zulhijjah, because of the 3 months are very important for Muslim to perform fasting, Aidilfitri and Ailadha. So we move to the first location of the sighting of the moon in Malaysia. The first sighting of the moon in Malaysia occurred to the Teluk Kemang, Negeri Sembilan. In the year 1930, it became the official observation location for determining the beginning of Ramadan and Shawwal. So Teluk Kemang is famous as the location, the highest moon sighting in history. So the former Teluk Kemang Observatory has been officially operating since the 1916. Looking at the development of technology and the trend of modernization, in Teluk Kemang Observatory is known as the Teluk Kemang Batu Hilal Complex to develop history and astronomy for the community. Besides that, there are 29 Malaysian lunar observation locations, among which are Pontian Kecil Johor, Kampung Pulau Sayak, Kuala Muda Kedah, Falak Al-Khwarizmi Complex, Kampung Balik Batu, Tanjung Bidara Melaka, Tanjung Dumpil Sabah, Menara Al-Star Kedah, Labuan International Campus, Floor 13 Universiti Malaysia Sabah, Labuan Bukit Kemuning Kemaman Terengganu and Perhentian Island Besut Terengganu. Apart from that, Selangor. Selangor has three lunar observation sites, which is 1 Baitul Hilal Bukit Imlawati, 2nd Baitul Hilal Bukit Jugra, and 3rd the Selangor Observatory in Sabak Bernam. This is because nothing blocks the observer's view of the western horizon between azimuth of 230 and 300 degrees, so the site was chosen for its suitability. Beside that, the cloud distribution factor as well as the building's heights are considered. So the location of the building on the hills is also advantage because of the lunar will set later than on the flatland. So beside that, the light pollution is now considered when choosing an observatory because it can interact with data collection. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is IZYAN KHAIRANI binti HAMDANI. My metric number 1201533. Today, I will explain about the involvement of authorities in moon sighting in Malaysia. First, keeper of the ruler's seal office. In Malaysia, the role of the keeper of the ruler's seal office is very necessary and has the highest authority in determining the moon sighting. They are secretaries of the Council of Rulers who also act as spokespersons for the Council of Rulers, particularly in delivering messages related to the dates of celebrations for Muslims every year. His most widely known role and often seen by Malaysians on television is to announce the beginning of fasting in the month of Ramadan, Hari Raya Puasa and Hari Raya Kurban, as well as the dates of other Islamic religious days as approved by the Council of Rulers every year. Besides that, they also function to coordinate the Committee of the Moon Sighting, also in the decision of setting the date of the Muslim festival in Malaysia. Secondly, the Committee of the Ramadan, Aidul Fitri and Aidul Adha moon sighting. The Committee of Moon Sighting in Malaysia is divided into two levels, namely the national level and the state level. Each of the organizations complements the other by acting directly with their respective skills and fields. At the national level, among the authorities involved in determining the moon sighting are the Islamic Development Department of Malaysia or JAKIM, the number of muftis in each state, representatives of the Department of Surveying and Mapping Malaysia or JUPM, and JAKIM officials who have recognition in subunits of astronomy. This is different at the state level when there is an increased number of members or committees compared to the national level, which consists of the chief Syar'i judge, the director of the Department of Survey and Mapping of the State of Malaysia or JUPM, or representative of Muslim, the secretary of the Islamic Council, the director of the State Department of Islamic Religion, Falak officer, and lastly the district religious administration officer. Next, the Department of Survey and Mapping Malaysia or JUPM. This organization is also responsible for publishing astronomical products including Qiblat direction table, prayer times, Ruqyah Hilal data, Hijri calendar and eclipse information, as well as a Syariah astronomical almanac. In addition, members in this department are those who are trained and skilled in using special tools to observe the moon, such as telescope and theodolite, to help the muftis and JAKIM to obtain accurate data and results. Lastly, Jabatan Kemajuan Islam Malaysia or JAKIM. This organization is to contribute work in the research and broadcasting section in the mass media through RTM broadcast, with collaboration with the Keeper of Rulers Seal Office, who receive reports and disseminate information because of observational activities or the moon sighting activities. Other than that, JAKIM diversified its initiatives to provide information to the community by broadcasting the Persada Jurnal Edisi Raya program on television, which tell part of the work process in determining the Shawwal moon sighting until the most reliable results are announced.